Back to your presentation.
Okay, so welcome everybody. My name is Sylvia Chibwe, and let's get to the
Community Justice Kuchila Gabriel, Command Member of Student Leadership Council, University of
welcome committee.
Thank you very much, Dr. Obaneza, President of the Students.
Who's too?
No,
So what? And the board member. Yes. Another University of Abuja. University of Abuja student.
Okay, my name is Konami. Playing last name.
Eddie.
Student of two science. Also, the Konami.
Okay, so you're going to be a politician. It's very soon. Welcome, Eddie. Okay.
Okay, my name is Femi Adesina.
Okay, youth advocate Femi Adesina.
Yes.
Welcome, Femi.
All right, my name is Omoni, and you're also some very known as Abuja and
Abita Ene. Welcome, Abita Ene. Good to have you on this discussion. Okay, so let's watch this video and get the message.
If anybody give me the banner,
Okay, all right. So from the video, it's a short video, but it says a lot about the issue of drug abuse. I know a lot of people here, for me in particular, I'm thinking about, okay, this is what young people go through. Peer pressure is being represented there. The different mixtures they do to get high, and also what happens after the drug has been used. So it's all the fighting happening there. So I don't know how many of us have seen the video at some point. Have you?
yeah.
No, you have. Okay, so it's like, so how come you were? And I thought, okay, this one knows about this one. So that song is done by David Jones. David is a anti-drug abuse campaigner, a singer, and an actor. As a good credit, thank you to him. Now we're talking about the new dimension of drug abuse among young people in Nigeria. There are so many mysteries going on. I mean, there are so many, the creativity that the youths in Nigeria put in to create some kind of combination to get to that point where they're so high to do whatever they can do is amazing. But we have to discuss it today and see why channel such creativity to that and instead of something useful. And also ask the question that why is it even a trend so much now, so on social media these days, that young people are coming out to even make videos of themselves? Yes. Why is it so? So that's the conversation we're going to be having today. I hope you're all ready and let's go. Okay. So a little bit of background, statistics by the Nigerian National Bureau of Statistics show that in 2019, nearly 15% of the adult population in Nigeria, has around 14.3 million people, reported a considerably level of the use of psychoactive drug substances, and a rate much higher than the previous statistics released, indicating that a higher number of young people in Nigeria are using psychoactive drugs. And so, what is even more shocking about this is that the trend is, about this trend is the creativity, like I mentioned, and strange things that young people combine to get high. So the question we want to ask also is, what is responsible for the current trend and of it going viral on social media? Is it that we've not been talking about it before, or we're just seeing it because there's social media? And how does social media also contribute to what is happening amongst the kids? So I start with you, Mr. Femi. So how do you think we've come to this point where youth are now so bold enough to come online and show off the use of drugs?
Well, I've always been someone who sees social media as a good and a bad thing,
Okay.
depending on what you pick from it. The bad side of it is that almost everything goes on social media. Somebody wants to fetch water, it goes on social media. Somebody buys a new car, it goes on social media. And then it becomes a trend. Unnecessary things become the trend. So these days you find people smoke and have the effrontery to show it on social media, have likes, have followers, have youth. They see these people as models. They see that this person is enjoying life. This person is having fun. It's the new definition of fun. So when you see people like that already have followers, and then they post such things, those followers also have followers. So it becomes a trend. So somebody sees that this person went to a party and smoked something like this and has colorful background, people dancing and excited, goes to his or her own event too, and tries to portray the same thing, or tries to do something that is even much more brighter and finer than what was seen. So it's a bad trend. Unfortunately, it's in our midst. Unfortunately, it has gone very far for a solution to be, for a swift solution to take care
So
of.
you're saying it will take a long time before we can see.
My fear now is that people do not even know what is good and what is bad anymore. So it's sometimes they even explain to somebody that this is actually bad. Because somebody gives you all the justification that he or she does not have a job, he or she is going through a lot, he or she cannot find peace, he or she cannot find comfort. And the only way to find such is by taking a substance. And then when you look at, in reality, you look at the reality, what has government or most people actually put to take these people off this situation? It's getting worse. Unemployment.
Okay, now that you spoke about government, even the one by the NDLEA, we see in the news the release of when arrests have been made, and also exposing people who sell drugs to people in schools, secondary schools, as well as secondary schools. You mentioned some of the things that make youth or young people go into drugs, and we have students here. I'll start with you, Ed. Okay, so you are a university student, and how is the situation in school? Especially amongst young people, students like you in school, what do you think they go into such crisis?
I would say that everything is bad before everything is what's good. Not just good is what is bad. Even if the students of the beginning now. And for the
So what's that new law?
you know, what's bad then, what's time as bad, so that's seen as good thing. And what is time as good thing then, so that's seen as bad thing, because the peer pressure is too much. You see students that just came to the school, just came here as a fresher. Or the kind of people we meet when they were doing screening is the kind of people was screening it. So when they went out to the other ones, you don't know who they were before at all. But coming to the school, full together. They went out for a party. silent smoking. Or will be like, you want to kill it first, you do what? You try. You understand? So from there, gradually, you want to make smoke, or not, peers is coming. Another thing that is causing it in our school environment is, let me see,
Freedom, like with no parents around. Okay.
some of them they went to because they wanted like learning every. So coming to the school again, let me fix it. Because what I see on the social media, right, they see the top associate, people that think I don't know that the top people that are called celebrity. Because I don't think that's celebrity, what they do, what it does. You are become celebrity now. You see them coming online, they smoke. They come online, they do drugs. They show it. And when they say the government is not arresting them, so they feel like, okay, I need to spend, I'm actually, I'm better than I flex as a student. Life is once. Life and dies, everything done.
Okay, like is once, like that. Yeah, it's not life for students. Okay, like that. Okay, what do you have to say to complete?
My own opinion about this drug issue,
Yes.
drug use, drug that is becoming something else. But firstly, I want to commend the efforts of the current Vice Chancellor in University of Abuja. Because once you do what you're not supposed to do, security will be automated. So, my own contribution is this: people should face punishment for offenses of drug taking. You cannot come and take drugs, maybe introduce people to taking the drug, and at the end of the day, you will fail. Definitely, this set of people will introduce another people. But majorly, our parents have a lot of roles to play. We go back to the parents. Because I don't see any reason why a student to smoke, post it on his or her status on WhatsApp, and the parent will say, my son will be for this. So once this trend continues without the parents intervening, we should not be blaming government. The parents have a lot of weight to play.
Okay, the parents have a lot of roles to play, and that role comes before you mentioned. Okay, they are free, and so they want to flex life. And Luther ended.
Yes.
Okay. Alisa ended before you went to school, like just look back. What role do you think parents should play before they push children to be living free like that, especially in the investing market?
Well, sincerely speaking, all of this discussion boils down to the parents.
Okay.
You know, in sociology, we call what when a child is giving birth to, we have what we call tabula rasa of the mind. You know, the mind is empty. It doesn't contain anything. It's anything that you do in that person that intends to live up with. So the first person and the first God that these people, the youth, know is the parents. The parents need to stand as a watchdog. They need to intensify more effort in bringing more light to the activities of their wards or kids. They need to scrutinize them, tell them, search what are these people doing. Oh, they're now in school, I put them in social school, stuff. Some parents don't care about it. Thus, when these people realize the kind of freedom they get, the kind of space that they have, it tends to get the kind of education or let me say roadside enlightenment, and before you know, you become another beast. So parents likely is they are the kind of people that need to strengthen this we need to reform it before we can talk about fear, before we can talk about the government, talk about the community at large. So we are talking first on the parent and the parents, like in Nigeria, as a case study, the kind of nature, the economic angle, and all of that, choice and all of it, has taken so many parents off the parentalhood. They don't longer give much care to the world. They think bringing the money, sending the kids to school, and all of that is enough. Then I think each parent can being much like an accused of this case. It's a random way to go to cover all these things.
Okay. So if a lot of parents are so busy these days that they leave the raising of the children in the hands of teachers or neighbors or uncles and aunties and all. What exactly should these children, when they get to school, or students, I'll be asking you at this point, so Lisa, since you are also somebody who is into you're president of an association that deals with drug abuse amongst youth. So tell us, in your line of work, what have you been able to see amongst the youth that is a contributing factor to the rising cases of drug abuse amongst?
Thank you very much. I want to commend all the contributions coming from comrades and youth advocates, contributory factors in the rise of drug abuse. Yeah, indeed, they have powered so much on the roles of parents. This indeed is true. But you must understand that drug abuse is a systemic topic. Okay? Drug abuse is something that has multi-dimensions to it. It's not only the parents the children have encounter with every day of their lives. Okay, they move out, they get to school, they have teachers, they go to the church. I'm saying this because personally, I wouldn't say my parents were not taking care of me or were not monitoring that issue. But right in the church, I got introduced to drugs by a church member. Okay, and that was very early at the age of 11 years. Okay, so now, would you say that my parents have not done so well to take me to the church or maybe to the mosque?
You know, you mentioned something about them getting punished. Oh, when you catch somebody in school doing drugs, punish them. And they're not victims themselves.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about that.
Yes,
because
okay.
the drug abuse therapy treatment now is taking a whole lot of admission. We are trying to let people understand that a drug user or somebody who is dependent on drugs is a sick person. Okay, so it's just like I have cold, for example, and I come into this place and I sneeze.
Yes.
I catch the cold, perhaps. So you're not going to punish me because I'm sick. Okay, I'm going to be available the opportunity to be treated in the hospital, get drugs, get treatment, and if I infected you in the course of that disease process, you are also going to get treatment. Okay, so you're not going to call the DSS or the NDLA or the police or the tax forces to come after me and arrest me because I have appendicitis or because I have cold. Okay, so we need to look at all of these things. I'm not saying that, you see, if you see the effort of the government, there's a new plan now that just came out also, the National Drug Control Master Plan, which was span from 2021 to 2025. Now, the aim, the NDLA stressed it in that plan, that the aim of their work now is basically towards the high and the mid drug traffickers. It's not even the low traffickers. Doesn't mean they won't go after the low traffickers, but the high and mid drug traffickers.
When you say the high and mid,
Of course, those drug barons now,
Okay.
those drug generals who have all the billions of
so it's not just what we see at the airports and the.
Of course, yes, those are the guys you're talking
Those
about.
are middle.
So
Somebody
somebody who is cooking on 10 billion naira
Yes.
was sometimes
Okay.
ago, I mean recently. Okay, you don't call that need. You don't call that small
That's
trafficker. That's the people, you know. And then okay, so for us in the as health professionals, we are looking at this from a different perspective, a whole lot. I've had drug users who had dependence on drugs come to me and they share their minds with you. And sometimes they actually have their sober period where they sink into themselves and cry and look for help. But of course, the help which they can't get. They can't get somebody to talk to the person about what their problem is. You know, and sometimes we have young people who will walk up to their parents all good and say, "Mommy, I need help. I'm doing this drug, I'm doing this drug, I'm doing that." And the next time the guy does anything wrong, the mom takes them home. So you are taking your ego again, right? Okay. All of that brings the guy to the coil again, to his shell. So these things were one of the reasons, of course, again, to give it to them on the parent part. My organization with the Center for Women Development in 2019, December, had a program for women in Abuja. Over 50 women were brought in that program to train them on, first of all, how to identify early signs of drug use. On our part, we also brought in leaders, church leaders, society leaders, those who people go to, to seek counsel. Counselors were brought into that program to participate with women that were brought in from the women's center. Now, they were taught on how to identify early signs of drug use in their children. And secondly, they were taught to respond appropriately. What is the appropriate response? Because my child tells me now that he's taking Igbo, does it now mean I will be castigating him for whatever thing he does now? It is Igbo that's possible. Okay, and then you just look and start comparing him to other people. So what are the appropriate response that the mothers, the fathers should take when their child maybe volunteer information or they find out by themselves? Now, thirdly, if this child has to be taken to the rehab center, a treatment center, for example, what is your role as a parent? Now, it is not going to be the rehab center for for life. It's going to return home. And the rehab center is not a laundry center where you just take your clothes to wash them, iron, and then get them back to you. You participate in the treatment of that patient. And of course, it's going to return back to you. So what we also taught them on the coping strategies that will aid their recovery and reduce the incidence and prevalence of relapse in patients that have been in and out of rehab centers. Now, so what are we saying is that you see that all of this is a lot. Now, if you say that the guy was getting into drug because of peer pressure, he was not the only person who was pressurized. If you say the guy is unemployed, he was not the only person who is unemployed. We have many unemployed people today who are making fortune with their lives. They didn't take to drugs. In fact, I heard a story of a young boy who got into school by scholarship, and because he has nobody to cater for him, that spoiled him. That obstacle spoiled him to greatness, made him to sit tight and read to get more scholarships to see him through school. So for somebody to say, my parents are not caring enough, you're not the only person with uncaring patients. There are people today who came into this world and they lost their parents even before they realized that they were 1 or 2 years. Now, so they didn't take to drugs. Okay, what if there's no government? Are we not going to leave? So the first one of the steps, the first step to recovery from addiction.
So we'll get to the steps to recovery. But let's bring in the youth yes, the co-member in our midst. There are dimensions to these drugs. And we talked about creativity. Let us even hear it. From what you've heard or seen, what do you think are those dimensions, those creative ways that youths are now going to do?
One thing with drugs is it can be innovative, you get it. So when you tend to take this drug, you tend to try new mixtures, new ways. So someone comes have you mixed that? We saw in the video. Have you mixed this with this? Let's take it. Let's see what it will do to you. I get it. So it just like how the creative, like you said, peer pressure is one of the stuff that cause drugs on youth. When someone comes, I took this, I took this, I can still stand, I can still move. Can you try it? You get me? So the first thing is, due to I don't want to feel intimidated, I dive into it. So I can say that this creativity is like part of peer pressure, because once I was in campus and I witnessed this a lot. People just come into the room and say this and this, I was this and this strong. You are still taking one tablet and taking 4. Come on, you need to upgrade yourself. They laugh at you. You out of pity, you don't want to be left out. Oh, I must prove this guy wrong. I must prove this guy wrong. They take off the drugs.
So here are some of the substances that youths are now taking. You say there is mixing now, something, the tea that.
Can I quickly say something?
Okay.
Sorry to cut you.
Okay.
We are careful with saying some of these innovative materials that young people are going into, especially on the air. We wouldn't know those who will have the opportunity to listen to this. And we know that these young guys, they are very curious. The next time they hear this, you can do lifting and this, you can do this and this, they jump to it. They want to try, they want to experiment. Because that's what the cause of drug use too. Sometimes they want to experiment. So I'm just going to advise that we don't have to mention this, except to have a close training program for mothers, parents, leaders, to try to tell them, hey, this is what our children are doing now. But on air, we may not want to necessarily mention, some of these things. This, just so that those who are getting information doesn't get them curious to want to try. Now leave it to what they already know. That's the guys who know them already. Don't let those who are not aware, don't let them advance.
But with the creativity going on,
Yeah.
what would you say is actually making them become so creative like that? Wanting to know, or becoming so curious
Yes.
to know, okay, I want to get that. Why is that so? Instead of channeling that creativity to something useful
Okay.
for themselves and for everybody around.
All right. You see, what do they call it? Necessity
Okay.
is the mother of what? Invention. Now, if we mention some factors like economy, this guy used to get 1,000 naira from mom every day for pocket. I mean, for his pocket money. But now mom don't have up to 1,000 naira. Mom gives 100 naira. He's going to find a way to still get high. And then they start to think, what can I try this? Can I get this and add it to this? And then the social media that was mentioned, information is flying everywhere. He now saw that somebody who needs this and this and it gave so high. So he's going to try it and he's saving money for him. If I would blow your mind if I tell you some of the very funny things within the house. You don't even need to go out of the house to get high anymore. Within the house, there are so many materials to get high. This we have seen and of course uncovered in several instances. But like I said, it would be fine to mention them when we don't know, we can't say well not hear about these things. Now, so that's it. So necessity, economy, or maybe restriction now could be Nigeria, everybody's at home. He doesn't have the freedom anymore to be in school and have all the time to himself. He's at home. So he has to do something and look for something within the house. Within the kitchen, within the bedroom, he can get all of these things and get high.
Okay. So we move to you now. We'll not have from you. Is it Deborah, right? Okay. So Deborah, with all that they have said, and you're also a student. Okay. So what would you say? What do you think that is making students to also go into drug use?
Thank you very much. I noticed that I will be mentioning the negative parts instead, and it's actually that's the let's say the trending part. But there are some people that they are not so common, or they are just few, and those few too they still matters. These are the categories of people that use it to learn.
To learn.
Yes.
How do you use it?
Okay. There are some people that if they didn't take all these drugs,
Yes.
they cannot assimilate. Like I used to be like
But that should be the problem. That is why people get high to do a lot of things to get to that point where they can like
yeah.
show
So if you want
themselves
to,
and do a lot of
if you're my friend now, for instance,
Yes.
and I notice you are doing very good academically, and I want to be like you, I come to meet you, and I notice you be very active, you read very well, and I want to know how you do it. Maybe you sleep 1 hour per night or whatever. So I want to be like you. Then I will want to know your secret, and the only secret there for you is that you take drugs to keep yourself awake.
Okay, you see, a lot of students actually of the opinion, if she has that kind of opinion, or yes, mindset, because a lot of people have it also. You work with a lot of young people into drugs and who are out of drugs. Do you think drugs can be used for something good?
No, don't get me wrong.
Okay.
I didn't say it's good. I'm not saying
Yes, to do what
okay.
what you said.
I'm only trying to say you
Like
can.
trying to
Uh-huh.
use or something.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's
No,
good.
let's see.
Okay.
You have a lot to say.
You
Say to us.
know drugs, when you talk about drugs, you're not talking about drugs for headache as at this topic, we're talking about the addictive ones that are not
Yes.
good. So, because I'm trying to let us understand the balance. If I have a headache, I take a drug for my headache. From an interesting perspective, which you just gave, somebody is taking drug for knowledge. From the angle which you just gave, which is very interesting. Somebody wants to learn and takes drug. Whether it works or it doesn't work is for that person. Because I also know of artists, musicians that before they climb stage, inferiority complex, stage fright, so many things. They take drugs so that, because I hear it, I've worked with a lot of them. You hear that once I climb that stage, I don't want to see anybody. See no evil, fear no evil. How do I get the drugs? So we need to be careful. There are so many things that are going on out. The question now should be, for such people, what can be the alternative? So rather than not take this drug to influence this, what can such person take? I used to have, or rather, I have a relative who likes to take sugary things, Coke, Fanta, Sprite. When I noticed almost every day, you find bottles of Coke, Fanta, and Sprite. So what did I do? I bought a packet of juicy. Chili sweetness you're looking for. And tried several times, and it worked. To introduce this as an alternative, like, okay, rather, since you want to take something sweet, why don't you take something that is healthy and sweet? So the issue now is that somebody that is taking drugs to be able to assimilate, to be able to read, and finds that as the only way, finds it as the only way because it's what you present or what is presentable that the person uses. For some people, it's the word of God. You read and you focus on, there are different things that I learned. So that kind of person, now, drugs is what is present for the person to use. Question now is, what should be the
So what should be the alternative? You raised that question. And let me ask Comrade, do you think there is an alternative to
Please, thank you. I want to respond to whatever I said.
okay.
I have a friend in my 100 level days who was into taking tablets of codeine on a daily basis. Each time you see him, he's always on coke, and most of the substances are inside. He was my close friend. At some point, he said, I want to stay with you in your house these days, we can be roommates. But that does not mean I was taking the same thing he was taking. But I keep advising him, please, this thing you are doing.
When was he taking the tablets?
He's always taking it. No, he said, okay, once I take this by 8 o'clock, I will stay awake till the next morning. He was doing well academically. He was doing well. Otherwise, he's a good book. But I told him, okay, you are good at this. But when we go into politics, losing an person. So I keep advising him, when we get to 300 level first semester, the prices of most of these drugs went high. You could not afford them. That was why I said there should be a 90 on most of these drugs. If the price is like 50 naira and it's now 1.5 or 1,000, you discover that most of these youth cannot afford it.
For such a person now, okay, because the price will increase, did you stop using it?
Yes.
Okay, stop. Okay, so how cheap it is also a factor of using it. But for such a person, you're saying that he should be punished for using it. You said something like that.
Yes.
What kind of punishment will he receive that will be justified?
When you go to most of our justice system today, colleges and the rest, we discover that most of these students don't even take those drugs on their comfort zone. They bring them to school. So, what are the school security doing to ensure that this stops? Because sometimes the security walk up to you, why are you smoking? You say, oh, then you give them around, the security will go. Yes, sometimes I can express it. So now, what happens if the chief security officer of that same school notice that this particular security person is smoking in the midst of those students?
So I'm asking what kind of penalty? Okay. Well, when we think about that, we have some comments already. From Ihoma KJ, she says some of the things they combine just to get high are unbelievable. Thank you, Ihoma. And she went on to say that drug dealers are also becoming creative with mode of delivery. Now, the mode of delivery of the drugs They now use dispatch riders to deliver the drugs to their clients. And MA Jacinta says the rate youths are indulging themselves in these substances is very alarming. Hilda, thank you also for your comments. We see you. Said it's really sad when you see youth wasted because of the drugs they use. And Mark Chase, thank you also for your comments. He says the bodies responsible for drug management a lot of the drugs in the market are really harder to purchase without a prescription. Now, the money is now like the example you gave, money increased, and your friend stopped using that particular drug. But how would you respond now to the comments we have, especially the delivery of this drugs?
Yeah, I think that's a good information because they are about the primary agent, start the responsibility of hacking on traffickers. Okay, so that function is very good for them to work on. Perhaps we have policies that can control or try to see towards slash areas of picking up or think around that. Okay, so I think basically.
Go ahead.
Yeah, basically, then we saw something that happened when the government banned codeine. Okay. Yeah, it wasn't as if codeine was no longer available. It was. We still could get it from the black market. Even from the illegal market, it was still available, but very expensive. Something of 100 naira jumped to about 7,000 naira. Of course, naturally, those who don't have the funds to get them, just stop taking them or find an alternative. So that's another side. So it comes to policies. Now, he mentioned the price of these things, but what happens to the person who needs codeine for medical use, who is actually on prescription codeine? So what happens to the person? So you see, sometimes when we do these things, we need to also ensure that we don't infringe on the right of the person who legitimately needs these drugs for use. Okay, so for me, I would rather say that we need to work tirelessly on our security agencies or the law enforcement agents in this country, just to ensure that they don't have access to these drugs. Apart from pricing, if you do a lot on access, it will probably solve most of these issues with hard drugs on the streets. Now, we also need to work on our medical, of course, that's a little bit to this whole discussion though. Now, we need to work on the medical professionals because some persons can just sit down and prescribe tramadol to any patient who comes to him, heavy tramadol.
Yes.
I feel pain here, okay. And sometimes patient will tell you, I need tramadol. Sometimes they will tell you, I need injection, and tell us. Now, so you need to also ensure that be sure this patient needs this drug. And of course, we have the step ladder for analgesics. You don't just see the person because he's having one pain or the other and give this high frequency medications. Now, this is going to help to cut down on diversion of these drugs into abuse. Because again, there's something available or practice in the UK which we proposed to the House of Reps in 2018. We talking about triplicate prescriptions, for these controlled drugs. Tramadol was in scale 3 drugs. And I would tell them that what UK does is this. If a doctor is going to prescribe a control drug, it is written on 3 prescription notes. That on its own is not convenient for me as a doctor. It's better I write paracetamol for you on 1 prescription note and now start writing on 3 notes a control drug. So I want to justify what I'm writing, I have to write it 3 times. And then you give the 3 copies to the patient. The patient takes 2. One stays with the patient takes 2 to the pharmacist. The pharmacist dispenses and then keeps 1 with him and sends 1 to the regulatory body in the country, in the states. Now, if you as a patient, your data is there, your name, your age, and all of these are computerized. So you don't find it funny, knowing fully well that your data is always with the pharmacists.
Yeah.
Me to the doctor, I would like that. Is my name really on the database prescriber of tramadol? I wouldn't like that. I want to justify for whatever reason I'm going to prescribe those control drugs. You see, so that's on this part of those who have the power to prescribe. Because sometimes patients can come and say, doctor, I'm taking paracetamol, but I just need tramadol for this. Sometimes too, we have patients, sickle cell patients, those on chronic pain, and they have become addicted to these pain agents. Sometimes they will even mimic pain. They are not even in pain. they will come and they will even pass out. Parents should really say, he wants better. And then you give, the guy gets up. One day we tried some of these experiments in hospital. So okay, give water instead of better. He did, and the guy slept off. Thinking is better, you give. So just to tell you that some of these things again, like psychological elements. Now, for the person who is taking a codeine to stay alert, as you mentioned, that reminds me when she just said that. What she's saying is actually very true. That some people take these things for positive reinforcement. It's not as if they are taking it to get high per se, but they feel that it reinforces something that is that's profitable to them. Now look at it. In that 2018, we had this conference on drug use and our future. And one of the participants gave his own story. He told his story how he was taking just to do well in school. And he was actually doing well. He finished, and one day he was going to take the mom to Lagos and his sister. He was sitting in school and go. That was how the mom asked, Junior, give me your good receipt. And he said, Mommy, no, let's buy it when we get to the next junction. The mom insisted, no, I'm testing, I need your coke. This guy said, Mommy, please. So it was becoming suspicious. So he had to pass the coke codeine to the mom. The mom took. This that you say, Mommy, give me. And that one took his own head. And of course, that was how they didn't even know they took codeine. But they slept throughout that. And so he was on break in his trip that he was just firing the touch. But thank God nothing happened to him. Now, they told us the difficulties started having mentally after that intensive years of taking codeine to stay alert. It has burned out the brain cells. And so over time, now, if I'm tired, I should sleep. If I feel sleepy, I should rest. It's for me to manage my time and schedule so that I don't feel sleepy when I want to read. So because you can't cheat nature, like our coverage in the world, you can't cheat nature. You can't be feeling sleepy and you say something to stay awake and you think it doesn't have consequences. It does. It burns out your brain neurons that should be functional at the time you should be productive to yourself.
Yeah, all right. Consequences of taking drugs. That is where we are at this point. As we wrap up, let's hear from you, Chino. So, what would you say to a Nigerian youth right now who is watching, and you want to advise the person, okay, don't take it? What would you say to them?
Like I would say that it does not give me happiness. There's a show I actually stay up every night to watch on BSTV in Nigeria. It's called Bound Up Abroad. It talks about stories of people who were in drugs, who were doing drugs, but how they were caught up abroad, kept in prison, and how they actually were repatriated back to the country. But mostly did with the British. And when I watch those shows, I see that at the ending, all of them, I've watched almost 150 episodes. All of them are just, I wish I've never done it. Most of them, after their experience, they just start writing books, start inspiring people. So there's this that experience is the best teacher, but let's not kill your experience. Watch from others. So I saw all of them were just I regretted. Those who started from young age were living cracks, flying abroad. So even me, while I was in university, my room when I was in Nigeria, my two final year roommates. Their room, our room was the headquarters with the delivered drugs. But I didn't partake with them. But I saw that lifestyle. They were not. He didn't take them anywhere. He didn't really take them anywhere. They just get high, sleep. This one get high. And if you look at it now, he affects you internally. It kills your kidney. It does so much harm than good to you. So why take it? So my advice is to Nigerian youth that I know it's not easy. It's very. If you see someone addicted to drugs, it's not motivational speech. It's not motivational speech. I would like to chip in again. If you're saying they don't have, what happens to the rich? I have the money to buy it. What did you tell the rich? The rich man that has 1 million in the account, whom the code goes to 20,000, can still buy it. How do you tell him that CDC alone is not good? So it goes more than the poor can afford it. Sometimes the rich buy and give to the poor. Most of these touts unknown governments, the rich shall buy the drugs and give to them. Say, take, let's go out for this. Take, let's go out for this.
Okay. It doesn't matter the class.
It doesn't matter the class.
Thank you so much.
it can affect anybody. But like I've said, you were like I will keep much. You were once doing well. You were once reading your computer jobs.
Yes.
So why do not depend on the jobs? Okay, for example, now I take drugs to pass my exam. When I graduate, what else do I do? So I was like,
Food
okay,
for thoughts right there from Chido.
I
What would
need
you be doing?
I need drugs
Yeah.
to be driving. I know people that take before they eat, they need to take drugs. So like you as one person, if I bring you food here and serve it, you can eat. But some people know I need to take that thing so I can eat. Because they just come, they take 1 spoon, take 2 spoons, they are done.
Okay, Deborah, let's hear from you now. So, you didn't finish your line of thought there, but you made a point, a strong point. So, what would you say also to students like you who want genuine help? How can they actually be helped?
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, just like I said the other time, I would like to finalize it in this way. For everything, there's a consequence. Now, it's not determines your own decision. Okay, this consequence, will you be able to bear it? You say someone take drugs and run mad. You when they take are you ready to run mad as well? Even if you are using it to read, whatever thing you are using it to do, either for the positive part or the negative part. Some people they tell them go work hard for, but after taking the drug, now then you go see for yaba with their barefoot. And the repercussion is just a repercussion of the drug. So just have it in mind that there's consequence for this thing. So it's better you don't just venture into it. And if you are already into it, call out for help. There are different sectors, just like what he said. He said he's introduced help like that. He's also into one. There's various other ones that you can call out for that. They can help you to bring out that is an instinct, like you already built it in your mind that if I can't, just like what you said, it's because they already have it in mind that if they don't not do something good. But if they should take that thing out of their mind, and it's not possible, just like they said, it's not possible. Once you take it out of your mind, then you can achieve something greater than what you have even been achieving now.
It's all about your mindset. Thank you, Debbie, for your contribution. And then Eddie. Okay, so they have cookies. They say they have cookies now mixed with drugs that they sell to students. No. Okay, so for students who know all these things, and even the way they deliver it, like you said, in his room, it was like the headquarters where they deliver. Okay, so how do they turn a blind eye, in your opinion, to help themselves and also help the people who are already taking it in school?
Okay, like, is it a traffic as well talking about all the streets?
Yes, in the student, everyone.
Okay, now,
Students.
my own is, I would like to write, okay, for the traffickers,
Yeah.
if you are caught, they are sent to jail. And you get very consequence. If you are sent to jail now, okay, if you are sent to jail now, your friends, what will they see? Because now, as a trafficker, let me make an example now. If you're having a trafficker, he's my friend. By the time they pick me up, which eyes will fellow students look at? You'll be like, okay, just into it. With that, you don't say it.
Some people don't get conscious. They don't care.
Okay, for the people who don't get conscious, you should be ready to bear it. And for the students, you that are taking it, for whatever reason you are taking it, you can beat it. You can beat it. Okay, I can remember now. The last election they had in our street. I knew some people that before they went out to go and talk, we want to contest for an election. Before you go out and face the crowd, you have to go and smoke. You understand? You have to smoke to get
Then there is
information.
alternative to learn presentation skills and how to
Thank you very
talk
much.
in public
Even if you can't learn presentation skills, there are things you can do. To go out, you can just go out and then just move yourself. You won't be looking at the crowd and you beat it. So you'll be like, okay, because I'm not getting enough sleep, so I have to take this. Go out now and get hot food and eat. You sweat very well. Yes, there are ways to beat it, just that you're not ready.
Thank you so much, Eddie, for your contribution. And to Femi, what active role would you suggest for women take in covering all these themselves?
Active role. Okay, I'll talk about two things
Okay.
relating to that. One is that there needs to be a complete overhaul of every system and everything. Because recently, you could even see from the media some weeks or some days ago, a doctor,
Yes.
a medical doctor, had a catering service which she was using to sell cookies and brownies. So those are people with access to the drugs. Then we also heard from some of the conversations here that even security agents are supposed to even catch people. We go there and say, "What are you taking?" They say, "Okay, take one." You will take. I mean, who enforces, who catches who? Who is the police and who is the thief? That's the first one. The second one is that in psychology there's what is called conditioning. Conditioning is a state of the mind. It's something that has to do with the mind. Conditioning is what you perceive to be the solution. So you want to speak to a crowd and you think the crowd will frighten you or you're frightened by the crowd. Why don't you take, as an alternative to drugs, why don't you go and learn how to speak to the crowd? You have an exam to pass and you think it's drugs. There are some people that I know that put their legs in buckets of water
Oh, I did
to
that.
stay away. There are alternatives. It just depends on which one you choose. And the one you choose now becomes the condition of your mind, hence conditioning. So when you condition your mind that it is drug, you are solely responsible for that. And I must also advise that what you think is the solution, there are so many alternatives. The bad one you chose is what you chose. Look at the other ones. So
Thank you so much, Femi Adeshina. He is a businessman and also a youth advocate. To you, Aluta Ene, Aluta Continua. What do you have to say to Nigeria?
Well, to all my fellow Nigerian youth, we are we are the future leaders, and it becomes imperative for us to work our way by making sure that we shun this illicit way. We have various alternatives that has been suggested by our co-conversationists, and everybody has linked up the plan B for us. But then our quest for shortcut has given us or has landed us into this big mess. We just want to pass through the short way, we want to go through the back door, we want to the easiest way, the easiest access. As the future leaders, we just need to shun this drug abuse and all of that. There's no positive thing that we can gain out of it. It has done more harm than good to us. I must be frank with you, sincerely. It has done more harm than good to us. Economically, we are not making any headway. It seems we are going in the dread. When we talk about politically, we're not even more active in the system anymore. We blame the old men. We say they are not trying to live out. They don't want to leave the state for us. They don't want to do this one. No, it is because we find another game in drugs. When we are supposed to be political actors in the system, we are now take solace in drugs and all of that. And whenever we see an election going on, are they sharing money? Is there any good thing there? It's not something so important to them anymore. This is a resultant effect of this drug abuse. We need to share it, and all of this apathy needs to go.
Thank you so much, Samuel, aka Aluta Ene. And to you, the comrade in the house, Comrade Gabriel, for the final thoughts.
Thank you. I want to come in this way. For those that are not addicted to these drugs, for the so-called mentor, role models, and the rest of them, for our parents, you don't correct somebody by criticizing the person. Bros, this way you say no good. But what if you do it this way? from doing it this way, you bring another alternative, you bring another alternative, and you discover that this person will be living that memories forever. And at the end of the whole thing, the person will stop. I want to end my points this way. A shortcut can be a longer cut. So if you continue on, let me take codeine today, tomorrow let me take retinol, next tomorrow let me take something and the rest of them, what will be the consequences at the end of the whole taking? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Comrade. A shortcut can be a longer cut. That's a quote coming from Comrade Gabriel Achiba. And to wrap this up for us nicely, guys sheet for us, is his book, Mr. Book Omeza, President Vanguard Against Drug Abuse. What do you have to say to wrap this up?
Yeah, I think that for Nigerians, which we are one of us,
Yes,
Nigerian youth actually.
Yeah.
I want to advise everyone that it is important that we take responsibility for ourselves. All of the things we have discussed here today comes down to you take responsibility for yourself. The government cannot do everything for you. Your parents cannot do everything for you. At any time, you have yourself. And then the decision you make today affects what you become tomorrow. So from what Comrade Gabriel said, the shortcut can become the longer cut. Because the first time you want to take this drug, it may be voluntary. You were pressured, you were this, you saw people breaking into the room, you couldn't take your eyes off it. That action, first action to take it is voluntary, you did it by yourself. But subsequently, you become dependent on it and the drug controls you. You cease controlling the drug and the drug now controls you. Who is not controlling the drug? So please, we want to beckon on you. So please take responsibility wherever you are, whether in your home, outside your home, within the public eye or secret eye. Please do not do drugs because you regret doing it.
That is the bottom line of this discussion. Youths do not do drugs. Thank you so much, lady and gentlemen, for coming today on the special edition of Youth Assembly. We looked at the new dimension of drug abuse amongst Nigerian youths today. And I hope we took a thing or two out of this discussion. There's so many high points right here on the show. But we are so grateful for you all coming today to share your thoughts and also provide advice on what we need to do. Thank you so much. Okay, so the show was produced by NFA Yahweh, Hila Kato, Abdullahi Dawda, and also supervised by Eddie Ogiani. Oh, I'm not forgetting, Camille also produced the show. We'll be back for another interesting edition of Youth Assembly. Okay, see you next week. My name is Sylvia Ishime. Thank you, everyone, once again. And to all of you who shared your comments, we appreciate you. Keep sharing this video. Tag somebody who needs to hear this. And Nigerian youth will thank you for it. And the world at large will also do the same. See you and stay safe and do not do drugs. Bye. Thank you all so much. Wonderful conversation. Okay. Try to shake all of you. Give me the elbow. Give me the elbow. Okay. Oh. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Sorry, we'll take pictures. Let the light come.